Yo, what is good, legendary Goativerse? It is your boy, the legendary Goated X. We're back with another video, guys. Guys, it is a brand new month. It is June of 2026. It's the first day of the month. I do apologize for the last week of May. I know I've been regularly saying, consistent upload flow, schedule, routine, uploading 2 to 3, maybe even 4. All that's pretty ambitious, but I was more so leaning towards 2, at least 1 or 2 videos a day. But I've been working on a lot of things behind the scene. I took a little bit of just a short stint window just to restructure everything, because I'm working. I want to work on a lot of plans, projects, procedures, a lot of businesses behind the scenes, and a lot of stuff. But I also realized that I really have to coordinate myself and structure myself properly in order to use my time efficiently and effectively. Otherwise, I'm going to start so many things, but ultimately I'll get lost and I won't effectively be productive and efficient, and I probably won't accomplish much. So that's very important. And that's also something that you guys can also apply to yourselves as well, as far as your goals, visions, dreams, aspirations, whether it's you're working on your degree, your career, or working on a new talent or skill, or being better in your relationships or your social ambience, and a bunch of other things. I woke up early today, around like 5. My alarm did wake me up. I thought it was supposed to wake me up at 4, but I think that alarm wasn't set. I woke up my eyes, but I did dwindle back into a little bit of a sleep, and then I woke up again at 6, and then I just laid on the bed because I was just thinking about how this month was all going to play out and everything, and I made a promise that this month is going to be a consistent, efficient, and effective rolling routine of rhythm, sequence, momentum, follow through with schedules, routines, in line with those ideas, details, mindsets, feelings, emotions, habits, ideas, details, concepts, fundamentals, and so much more. But what I was going to implement is I was going to be serious this month. And obviously, in terms of my goals, visions, dreams, desires, aspirations, as well as towards you guys as well, with yours, align those with those habits, those behaviors, those tendencies, those actions, those intentions, those motives, and so much more will then procreate and elevate you towards that narrative, notion, the message, the acclaimed status or perception that you want to appeal and you want to present to people around you, your friends, family, those groups, communities, basically the world. But ultimately it's about holding yourself accountable, being disciplined, motivated, integrated, consistent, persistent, allocating and directing your time, energy, resources, your value, in a sequence, structure, and manner that is going to be effective, efficient, and productive. Remember, it's about being productive and efficient, not being regressive and reactive overall. As much as I would love to keep talking on and on, guys, about this little, short intro that I've brought into, we are kind of a little bit of a time crunch because I do have to get ready for work. However, though, moving forward, though, I will be waking up at 4, 5, latest is 6, but I'm really not trying to wake up at 6. I'm really trying to wake up at 4 or 5. So by then I can record a video. I'll have time to post it by the morning before I head out. And then hopefully in the evening I can come back and record another video for you. And there's going to be different style layouts for different videos with different video ideas, topics, and formats. We're going to be experimenting with different styles moving forward, just to mix up the content, make it a little bit more interesting and intriguing. And overall, interactive. So with that being said, guys, last episode we talked about, we talked about willingness and discipline. and how that plays a very vital and significant role in our lives. Ultimately, we as humans, we have our goals, visions, dreams, aspirations, desires, or we ultimately have things that we want to accomplish in our lives, and we want to achieve them. And those things are really conveyed by our notion, our mindset, our motives, the things that we think, that we hold dear, that we digress in our hearts, that we allocate to our mind, and then we withhold in core values in our heart and our beliefs, which align themselves uh, greatly, profoundly within ourselves. We have such a very strong appeal to those things, and that energy and that notion through the motive is conveyed in such an effective and proficient manner that um, we a lot of the times we sometimes get a little bit carried away with it, and we don't really understand like the influence and like the real true value behind it. Because think about it, discipline influences your life so significantly, and it's so substantially important, because the habits, the behaviors, the tendencies, the actions, the feelings, emotions, the mindset, the ideas, the details, concepts, fundamentals, etc., however you would like to present it or um, attain it, that plays very substantial and fundamental roles in your life. What you're influenced by, what you're integrated, and what you're, intrigued by can play a vital and overall impactful presence in your life on how you go about interacting with other people, how you see the world in general, your life. What do you think about yourself? What do you think about others? How you think and how do you react to certain situations, scenarios, or circumstances? How you convey and endorse certain ideas, narratives, or narratives, or motives. Sorry. Um, and so much more. Which is why, with that, like your habits, behaviors, tendencies, emotions, feelings, sentiments, um, are conveyed and endorsed through those motives, concepts, structure, teachings, that guidance, that influence that you derive from others or individuals, or entities or institutions or things in general that that you are aligned to or that you're attracted to off of a certain value or just overall influence. And then that procreates and elevates to a standard where it will either align you in a direction that will have a positive and optimistic influence, or a negative and pessimistic influences. So it's very, very, very important. Your feelings, emotions, sentiments, mindset, convictions, and so much more, they align themselves with those actions, behaviors, tendencies, beliefs that you withhold and you procreate. You align that with a routine, a schedule, a rhythm, a momentum, and that will then procreate and elevate itself to a different standard level or value or influence in your life. And a lot of the times it happens subconsciously, because think about it, we get so caught up in the moment, we don't pay attention to what the actual influence of what's happening around us. Like, think about it. You are so in tune to the moment, and you are so, focused into what you're doing, but you don't really have the time to really like sit down, analyze, evaluate the circumstance or situation that you're in, or probably the emotions or feelings that you're going through, and really reason as to why you're thinking or why you're feeling a certain way, when you're so caught up in this influence, or these behaviors, or these tendencies, and much more, that you somewhat can't really digress or distinguish the behaviors, but you know something's different about you. And even other people around you can notice this too, which is why it's very careful. You have to be very careful on how you go ahead and you perceive yourself towards others, through your discipline, what you really align yourself with, and what you really convey those values, those notions, motives, ideas, details, feelings, emotions, those fundamentals, those principles, and much more, because that's going to align and connect itself with your behaviors, habits, tendencies, your mindset, your beliefs, your efficiency, effectiveness, your willingness, your desires, your goals, visions, and dreams. And that's just going to procreate itself around other individuals, groups, or people. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I would love to keep talking about the last video, but you guys can check it out. It's on the channel. Obviously, we're on a little bit of a time crunch, as I said. So what we wanted to talk about today is kind of thinking about it. Obviously, we talked about a lot of good, interesting topics so far. But as far as today, and obviously I got a little bit of time here to work with, so as far as I guess the topic of discussion, and obviously I would love this to be a lot more longer today, but I have a little bit of a limit. This video probably also will get uploaded later today. And by later, I probably mean maybe the evening hours, because I'm probably not going to have time to upload this. Or maybe I'll try. But anyways, the topic of discussion that I wanted to relay and I guess endorse upon really was, I would say, today we can go ahead and talk about confidence and man, this is I usually have these on the spot of my tongue, but I guess today we'll go ahead and talk about is confidence and self-esteem. There we go. It was on the tip of my tongue. So, confidence and self-esteem. Well, I guess we'll start off with confidence. Confidence is a very big thing. We as humans, as people, as we are, we have groups, communities, people, individuals, boys, girls, men, and women. Confidence plays a vital role in how we convey ourselves and how we endorse ourselves to project a message, a narrative, a notion, but how we express and how we convey our behaviors, habits, and tendencies, and how we act upon certain things in a certain way and how we react. Not to mention how much we are knowledgeable or how much we value and appreciate, or we, distinguish or disdain certain things. But confidence goes a long way, and a lot of people most of the time somewhat undermine confidence and undervalue it, but you don't understand, like, there's a deep psychology rooted in it. Ultimately, the more confidence you have as an individual, the more opportunities and windows and doors it opens up for you. I mean, it's like that energy is so vital, it's so precious, it's so influential, it's massive, that it's powerful and impactful. Like, people could just see, it's like a massive radiance emitting from you. That confidence, though, it's sculpted through, your habits, your tendencies, your behaviors, the way that you think, the way that you act, the way that you perceive other people, how you react to them, your efficiency, your productivity, your conviction, and a wide range of other things. Discipline, though, isn't something that's acquired simply like then and there. It's not something that you acquire within a couple hours or overnight. It's something that takes time to build, and it's consistent, by the way. because it's not perfect. There's no humans ever perfect. So it's a constant development and creation of a process. Those fundamentals and principles and those ideas, those details that you so profoundly believe in your heart and you hold to core values, and they align with your mindset, your narratives, your notions, and they're convinced through those beliefs and what you perceive. Because you have a way and you have a perspective of viewing and analyzing things, but other people can't necessarily see that directly from your point of view, from that first person stance. They have their own perception and view, but you obviously you try your best in order to convey that notion or narrative and to do ultimately your best to express that value and that conviction in order to carry that message and that narrative moving forward, which is why it's very interesting and impactful, because ultimately when you have your goals, visions, dreams, and desires and much more set in front, and you convey those small and tiny tasks and assignments, then you develop that routine and that schedule, you build that rhythm and that momentum, and then it conveys into more intermediate and medium-sized uh, processes and procedures that you start to invoke and you start to procreate, which ultimately then will lead to the grander and more larger overall solutions, or end results that'll be on a much more larger, massive scale. Um, that is obviously in line, in tune with those notions, beliefs, ideas, details, feelings, emotions, and much more that you harbor and that you harness within your belief of your heart and that you hold near and dear, and that you express in alignment with your mindset and how you carry yourself, how you think about yourself, how you think about others, but how you perceive that message and narrative, and how you want to convey and express that knowledge or that influence towards other people, and how other people want to do the same, but how you can also draw comparison and distinction, which is always unique. But confidence goes is a big way, because afterwards your actions, behaviors, your tendencies, they and much more, they ultimately supplement and they are facilitating that confidence of yours, and it's just elevating and it's creating that boost. But you have to understand that confidence, as powerful as it can be, you have to make sure you use it in an adequate and appropriate manner, and not in a very degenerate or vulgar way, I would say. Although I think that's maybe a little bit outlandish to use those words, but everything, every influence in this world everything has a good and great notion, but also a bad and worst. And that's why it's very, very keen and important for you to align and structure yourself and really create accountability, create organization, apply that structure, those fundamentals and those principles that'll help you stay garnered, that'll help you stay harbored to what you initially sought out after, to become better and to improve upon. Because ultimately you were probably in a situation or scenario or circumstance that you were just overall feeling a certain manner or way where you just didn't feel good about yourself. You felt like maybe you could probably do a lot better, you could probably improve, you can probably serve as a better influence. All these components, all these things, ranging from your feelings, emotions, sentiments, ideas, details, notions, habits, behaviors, and tendencies, your reactions, your proaction, your conviction, your mindset, your manifestation, desires, etc. All that carries interconnection value, sequence, all together. But it's all literally held and framed by the discipline, the willingness, the determination, the effort, the motivation, the structure, the organization that you implement in your life. Because you don't understand how vital and how important it is. It doesn't take much for you to get lost or to fall off your path, which is why you always have to keep willing to improve and keep getting better. Criticism too, it helps to influence your structure and your direction. It can help make you better, that constructive criticism. Not in reference to the pessimistic criticism. That constructive criticism is going to help elevate you and progress you. It's going to help push you forward. It's going to help open you up to a different perspective or lens that maybe other people are viewing you upon. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but they're just looking in a manner or lens that, hey, there is some room for improvement. You know, you have a surplus of confidence, you're very good and knowledgeable and you know what you're doing, but ultimately, we all, from time to time, could use some help and some assistance. As, you know, we're imperfect and we all really don't know everything. And there's always room for improvement. We're always constantly learning as humans. We don't know everything. So, always make sure that, you know, you acquire that positive distinction and that positive influence. And, you know, you try to really distance yourself and you relinquish those negative and pessimistic habits, behaviors, or tendencies, or notions, or narratives, or ideas, or details, feelings, or emotions that you have, because subconsciously you may not even notice it, but that influence is very strong and it's powerful. And within a matter of no time, you will start seeing very strong impacts in your life that you'll even get lost yourself. You don't even know how this even happened. So yeah, guys. And then your self-esteem, ultimately too, is aligned with your confidence. How you think about yourself, how you carry about yourself, how you perceive other people, how other people perceive you, where your ideas, your feelings, your notions, your fundamentals, your principles that you garner and you hold to your core values in your heart, and you then perpetuate and propagate them with that mindset and the notion that you hold within your mind and you want to express towards other people. It's very influential because your self-esteem will help you grow in defense to, you know, adversity or challenges or oppositions that are just completely unfair towards you in life, and it'll help strengthen you as an individual and build your character. So that's the very important thing with you know, structuring your confidence, aligning it in an adequate and appropriate direction, and forging it accordingly and appropriately, because it's going to build, propagate, expand, and really strengthen and refine your self-esteem and what you believe in yourself as a person, what you convey towards other people and what other people think about you. Because your self-esteem also too, it ties into what your self-esteem ultimately ties into also the confidence that you withhold. And the confidence, as we mentioned, you know, it's aligned with your beliefs, ideas, details, notions, narratives, which then procreates your actions, behaviors, tendencies, motives, stances, and much more, which will then procreate towards your goals, visions, dreams, your solutions, or what you want to obtain. But it comes with also keeping it motivated, integrated, coordinated, allocated, designated toward a certain manner, and refined. You always have to keep improving, and you always have to keep moving forward. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching Go-to-verse. I love every single one of you guys. Let's see, what time is it? I made it just around the time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every one of you guys. We have some very big goals for this channel throughout these next 7 months. Obviously, it's the first month of June. I'm sorry, first day of June, first month. The first day of June. See, this is the other important thing why you have to keep that rhythm of recording and uploading videos, because you get just a little bit rusty. But I'm working with a lot of big things behind the scene, a lot of projects, I have a lot of business ideas. I'm structuring procedures, I'm structuring routines and schedules, just to get a lot of things done. You know, it'd be cool if you can get like hundreds, thousands, millions, or billions of these plans, projects, procedures. Who knows? Maybe in the future we probably can if we get that. But I am working on a lot of stuff. But also I have realized that, you know, it is important to keep a structure and organization and follow that through with a routine and schedule, because you're going to build that momentum and that that rhythm, which will then carry on through those actions, tendencies, and behaviors that you have. So keep that in mind. Don't give up on yourself. You're special, you're unique, you are one of a kind. You have a lot of capability. Those goals, visions, and dreams, and much more that you set out, you know, at the very beginning of this year, in January, where are you at right now? Are you on pace to meet them? Are you slightly behind? Are you moderately behind? Or are you significantly behind? Are you moderately ahead? Are you on pace? Are you significantly ahead? You know, build that evaluation, hold that accountability, and create that structure around yourself. We'll see what we might talk about next video. Accountability sounds like a good topic though, so I might have that as well as another word or phrase. Or honestly, we'll start maybe posting those question topics. But anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning in. I love every single one of you. I appreciate you all. Go-to-verse. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how your day's going. How are you feeling? I hope if you guys are going through something great, tell me what it is. Like, how are you guys? What's going on? How are you feeling? What's the situation, the circumstance? If you're going through something bad, I really hope and pray that, you know, that you can get through it and you can improve. Make sure that you get close to God, you align yourself with Him. Find time to, you know, get close to Him, to pray, to build a relationship, because you have no idea, but that's very, He's a very fundamental and significant part of your life. He's a very vital and powerful lifeline that literally gives you a surge and boost of energy where, you know, other sources here on the worldly scale, you thought that could be there for you, but sometimes they're not. So just make sure to keep that in mind. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of you. Subscribe if you're new, please. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. Hopefully YouTube can push out the videos more often now. But thank you guys so much. I love every single one of you. Go-to-verse, it is your boy, the legendary Goated X, and we are out. Peace. Till next time.